causes.
We know that approximately 70% of all the housing units within the city of Baltimore contain some type of lead hazard in it.
So we clearly have an enormous waste problem in this country, and we don't have enough landfill space. Incineration has a lot of environmental problems with it, and recycling is something we're just beginning, and we need to really emphasize a lot more in this country.
Hello, I'm Richard Scher, and welcome to our Urban Environmental Town Meeting. The Earth Summit in Rio has just ended. Leaders from all around the world were there, all sharing concerns for those of us who live here on this earth. Concerns about the air we breathe, the water we and our children are drinking, solid wastes that are piling up in landfills all across the world, and the crucial need for all of us to recycle. Those at the Earth Summit looked at the big picture. Now we focus on our own environmental crisis. According to national statistics, Baltimore City's air pollution is the 6th worst in the nation among all U.S. cities. 720,000 tons of solid waste burned every year. Maryland's greatest natural resource, the Chesapeake Bay, struggles to recover from toxic city pollutants. Whether we live in Baltimore's inner city or in the mountains of Garrett County, each of us must care about the environment. Morgan State University and the United States Environmental Protection Agency have teamed up to determine just what are Baltimore's most serious environmental problems. Together, they are working very hard to create strategies for finding solutions. In the next hour, we will explore the environmental crisis. Hopefully, by the end of this program, you too will be moved to join the fight. We are joined here in Owings Mills by William Riley, Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Elizabeth Bauer-Ice, Director of Environmental Programs for the Baltimore Gas and Electric Company, Delegate Dolores G. Kelly from Baltimore's 42nd District, Mary Dolan, Division Manager of the Environmental Planning for Baltimore City, and Robert Perciasepi, State Secretary of the Environment. And we are also joined here in Owings Mills by this studio audience of very concerned citizens. And our good friend, MPT reporter Nate Howard, is standing by live at Morgan State University. Hi, Nate, with another very concerned audience. But first, I'd like you to meet Dr. Earl Richardson, who is president of Morgan State University. It's nice to have you with us, of course.
Good to see you,
And
Richard.
we congratulate you on your interest in this very vital subject. Thanks very much. As you saw in Nate's report, there are other issues that were brought up in the Morgan State University survey, including lead paint abatement, hazardous waste disposal, solid waste recycling. Nate is there at Morgan State. Take it away, my friend.
Still here with me now is Pastor Armstrong, and I believe he has a question on air pollution.
Yes, we're very concerned about the relationship of air pollution to the high rate of cancer in Maryland. Do we know, Bill Riley, do we know from our national studies something about the link between cancer and air pollution? I've done 45 funerals. Most of those people in the Canton, Highlandtown area have been people who have died from cancer, and they're really deeply concerned about this issue.
I suspect there's more knowledge here on this panel about that specific problem than I have. We are very aware that there are carcinogenic air pollutants. We regulate them. They're toxics of all sorts. We've been getting at some of them pretty successfully, I think, over the past few years, particularly lead. But as to the precise incidence of pollution and then the cancer effects, I'm not prepared to say that we've got that causal connection figured out.
Mary, you must have something to say on this issue.
I agree with Mr. Riley. We really don't have a good connection. One thing people need to remember, in addition to the things they're exposed to externally, also very, very important things that you expose yourself to every day, the kinds of food you eat, whether or not you drink, smoke, or come in contact with oven cleaners, other sorts of toxics. Those are the things people can do for themselves.
But people all over, the scary thing about it is, and I can appreciate the Reverend's question, is that people watching who live in Maryland, I mean, people all over the country do those things. they smoke and they drink and they use oven cleaners, but they're not dying at the kinds of rates that people in Maryland are, and that is a serious concern. For the 40-some funerals in the Canton area, I mean, that's a very frightening, probably one of the most frightening statistics that's come out in this program.
The thing they ought to take comfort from, though, is the fact that over the next 8 years or so, we're going to get the air toxics down in our cities by almost 90%. That's the consequence of the new Clean Air Act. That's the consequence of these new technology standards that are going to be applied to companies, to plants that are emitting toxics, and the new reformulated gasolines are going to reduce toxics first by 15% in the fuels, then by 25%. So the overall contribution of the problem is going to go sharply down.
Not only that, but I'd like to say that the state of Maryland